Now, if I were to come up to you and do a Raw review and say, this Raw sucked so bad, the best thing on it was the Divas match, that'd be pretty bad, wouldn't it? But if I came up to you and I said something like, this show was really fucking good, and one of the best things on it was the Divas match, that's giving Divas a chance. What's going on, everybody? It's your buddy, it's your pal Spaz Phoenix, the YWC Reality Check, and we are the unlucky 13 days away from WrestleMania 31. WrestleMania, just press play, whatever the thing is, because there's no 31 in the logo, and it's weird, and whatever. That was a tangent that wasn't really going anywhere. Fun show. I will admit off the bat, yes, there were some things on here that sucked. Yes, there was. But again, as I've been saying a lot recently, as much as I admit that there are things that suck, there are things that I don't really care about. So, yes, there's the good, the bad. The bad applies to shit that I don't give a shit about anyway. The good is everything that I care about. So everything that I care about is going in the right direction. So why would I not enjoy the show? Just putting that out there. We start off with Rollins and the Authority, and the Authority B team, I should say, because Triple H and Stephanie aren't there. Loud, loud, loud Rollins chants, which I didn't understand in the beginning until somebody mentioned that Raw was in Iowa this week. And there's also a sign in the crowd that says, sorry guys, there is a sign in the crowd right on the hard camera that says, please cash in tonight, which I thought was great. Rollins comes out, starts talking about Orton from last week, talking about how Orton betrays me. None of you know what betrayal is, because none of you are a somebody. I, unlike you, made it out of Iowa and became somebody. So Rollins chants, obviously, turn into RKO chants, and says, Orton stalked me like an animal. He mocked my suffering. He betrayed me. And this is nothing like what I did to the Shield. What I did to the Shield was a sound business decision. He has cold blood and no mercy. He has made us all look like fools, and he is disgusting. Big Show chimes in, sucking up and whatever. Seth, I'm sorry. I'm to blame. You're the future, and you're the best damn talent in the WWE. Orton is cruel. I thought he'd see the big picture. He's a snake in the grass, but don't forget, I'm a giant, and I will crush snakes under my boot. Kane says, well, I wasn't quite as gullible as the Big Show, but I was sucked into, and Orton will pay one day. Noble says Orton is a rat, he's not a snake. I don't care about me, I care about you, and you are my boss and my friend, and what happened to you hurt me. But as much as it hurt me, it really hurt Joey. And then they hand the microphone to Joey Mercury, who doesn't do anything other than turn and cry into Big Show's chest, which is admittedly a bit awkward. Rollins comes back out, and he says, Orton's ego will be the one that gets hurt this evening. He thinks there are no consequences. He has never messed with anybody quite like me. I accept your challenge for WrestleMania if you will face me tonight. You call yourself the face of the WWE, and then he gets cut off by Orton's music, obviously. Orton says, I'm not the face of the WWE. I'm the guy that made you look like a bitch last week. I'm the guy that will beat you tonight. 5-on-1 if necessary, because I know you'll bring backup. You'll need all of that, and I can't read my own writing. You will need all the help you can get, because I've got enough venom for all of you. It's worth it to face you at Mania, and I'm going to end the future of the WWE. And I'm sure somebody out there will make a big metaphor about how the old guys are holding down the young guys, and Roddy. But you know what? It is what it is. In one of the matches of the night, like I said in my opening, AJ with Paige in her corner versus Nikki with Brie in her corner. Obviously, start with a collar and elbow tie up and a slam by Nikki. I will say, up until the end, sorry guys, you know how my nose is, and spring is coming, and yeah. There wasn't much interference in this until the end, so there's no typical Diva's bullshit. Collar and elbow tie up at the beginning, slam by Nikki, a two-handed choke by Nikki, which was really, really nice. Shoulder thrust in the corner by Nikki. Nikki, now that AJ's down on the ground, starts doing the Scott Steiner push-up gimmick, which I thought was great. Double knees by AJ stops that. Roll through into a near fall by AJ. Armbar by AJ. Firearm carry by Nikki into an arm bar. Headlock and an arm breaker by AJ, a clothesline and a near fall by Nikki. Spin kick and a near fall by AJ. Head scissor by AJ. Nikki hits an arm breaker over the ropes. Kind of like takes her arm over as if it's a stunner. Really interesting spot, hard to explain. but basically takes AJ's arm, runs, jumps over the rope, taking her arm with her, and sort of, if you can imagine, sort of a clothesline type maneuver, except does it to the arm, working the arm the whole damn match. It's great. Running elbow by Nikki gets a near fall. Arm breaker by Nikki gets a near fall. Hammerlock by Nikki into the corner, working the arm. Cross arm breaker by Nikki. AJ comes back with a dragon combination dragon sleeper and a body vice. AJ lets go, but hits her with a Thez press. Corner splash, neck breaker. AJ hits a top rope crossbody for a near fall. AJ gets a double drop kick. Nikki tosses AJ out of the ring. The four of them sort of stare each other down for a little while, building tension to WrestleMania. It's great. Brie and Paige argue and shove each other, and Paige eventually ends up eating post hard, and especially hard for a diva. Nikki takes advantage of the distraction, gets a right hand and a rack attack, and Nikki gets the win. We're building adversity towards WrestleMania. It's all good. Paige taking that post shot at the end was a nice little thing, and this match went 11-12 minutes or so. So, all in all, fantastic match for the four. I don't want to say the four best divas because people are going to bitch at me for praising the Bellas, but the four main divas of the roster, if that's a fair way to put it. We replay Roman Reigns and Mark Henry's altercation from SmackDown, which I thought was great. Show and Kane and Rollins argue in the back. Kane decides that Big Show is going to be in Rollins' corner. Show is angry. He was, why are you bossing me around? You know, you got this position of authority, and I think it's going to your head, rah. And then when Rollins comes and tries to get them to, wise up, they both turn on him and say, you wouldn't be anything if it was for us. Kane says, you wouldn't have money in the bank if it wasn't for me, rah. I'm not going to be in your corner tonight. And he turns to Big Show and he says, I'm going to give you the opportunity, Big Show. Do you choose to be in Rollins' corner tonight? And they both walk off. And yes, before anybody says anything, this is the most predictable lead to the end of the show ever, but it's still good storytelling. And I will explain why later. Ryback versus The Miz, there wasn't much to this. I didn't write any notes, really. The Andre Trophy is at the commentator's table. They do a close-up on where it's etched in that... on the main plate that Cesaro won last year, which I don't think they've really focused on, so I don't think they've done it until recently, to be perfectly honest with you. We do the typical Mizdow shtick. At one point in the match, Miz and Ryback are brawling in the back. Ryback holds Miz in place, expecting that Mizdow wants to get a free punch in. Mizdow doesn't. It builds the story. It's great, whatever. It's basically a squash match. Ryback wins, and in his furious frustration, I can speak, I swear, I promise, it's a thing. Miz hits a skull-crushing finale on Mizdow to end the segment, building their story. Oh, yes. Which brings out all the complainers on Twitter. Why isn't this a match at WrestleMania? Because there's pay-per-views after WrestleMania. Just saying. I'm sure that's going to be a recurring theme throughout the night. We replay the way Cena got his U.S. title match. We see the Sheamus comeback video again. We go to the U.S. title contract signing, and I will admit, here we go, guys, I will admit that this segment sucked, but let's go through it anyway. Cena comes out. He says, there's lots of mania, excitement in the air. This contract is the most important contract I've ever signed, which is clearly bullshit. Rusev is a super athlete. He's a hero to Russia, and he's beat everybody in the WWE. Even me. And then he goes on for another 5 minutes talking Americana bullshit. He signs his contract. Rusev comes out with some dude instead of Lana, who's apparently his lawyer, who does what I can only presume is a purposely bad Russian accent over the loud "We want Lana" chants from the crowd. So this is always a thing. Rusev will not be signing this contract. He will not fight Cena at WrestleMania. He never agreed to it. He replays where Stephanie said that Rusev was the only one that could offer him the match, or could agree to the match, whatever. Then they replay Lana offering the match to Cena and say it wasn't Rusev. Rah. Let Rusev speak fully and uninterrupted in your American freedom of speech, and then he will sign. And random anti-Americana bullshit. Rusev signs, tosses the table, and runs. And I think the only one that got hit by the table was his lawyer. So I'm sure there's a lawsuit coming. Moving on. Cesaro and Kid versus New Day. And New Day in this particular iteration is Kofi and Big E. Los Matadors are watching from the ramp, which is funny because Los Matadors are kind of, sticking around. And, everybody's like, why is Los Matadors there? Why are Los Matadors there? They're jobbers. They don't matter. They're not part of the storyline. Rah. Stay tuned. Kid starts with kicks. Big E starts with suplexes. Big E tosses Kofi into Tyson, which is interesting. Kofi kicks and punches Cesaro in the corner. Cesaro swing. There's a weird thing here, because Cesaro starts the Cesaro swing, and the ref turns his attention to Tyson because he knows Tyson's going to try and sneak into the match and do the dropkick, which is fantastic. Tyson and Cesaro both get mad with the referee for stopping them from the double team move. Kofi takes advantage and kicks Cesaro in the head, which I think is fucking fantastic. Top rope crossbody by Kofi. The pin is broken by Kid with a double drop kick to Kofi's head, which looks nice. Big E tackles Kid, and then in his second tackle attempt eats post hard. Trouble in Paradise to Kid, uppercut from behind. Sorry, we're at the end of the match. I'm talking faster than I can read. Trouble in Paradise to Tyson Kidd, but Kofi Kingston is hit with an uppercut from behind. So it's a what do you call it? It's a cheap shot uppercut to the back of the head by Cesaro, and the champs get the win. The Matadors, while Cesaro and Kid are celebrating in there, the Matadors attack New Day on the outside, and Cesaro hits a neutralizer on Woods once Woods is tossed into the ring by the Matadors. But then El Torito takes out Cesaro. And that's how we end the segment, with the Matadors and El Torito standing tall as heels that beat up faces and heels. But that's not the best part. That is not even the best part. And I know there are people in the YWC that hate New Day. There's people out there that really, really like the team of Kid and Cesaro. I'm one of them. I know MDM out there is really, really a fan of Cesaro. Cesaro got jobbed by a midget in a bull costume, but that's not even the best part. We have a 6-being interspecies match on SmackDown. Oh, I'm not laughing because this is any good, but I'm laughing because I know everybody out there, most of you, some of you watching this video are going to go absolutely nuts over this. Please, please, I'm begging you, please, for your own sake, for your own sanity, please take a breath and realize this as the comedy that it is, as Los Matadors and El Torito are going to take on Tyson Kidd, Cesaro, and Natalya in, as I say, a 6-being interspecies match. Oh yes, I cannot wait for the Wednesday Night SmackDown review coming this Wednesday. Am I doing that this week? Yes, I am doing that this week, because Ask the Phoenix and Tackle are both next week. Next week, full week. Tune in. Cheap plugging myself on my own channel for the win. We replay Taker's answer to Bray Wyatt from last week, which is great. Rollins and J&J Security argue. J&J Security quit after Jamie Noble gets a bitch slap from Seth Rollins, which is great. Tells a story. Predictable ending, I know, but I will explain why it's still good storytelling in as we go. Lesnar... What can I say about Lesnar? Lesnar and Reigns, yes, I will admit, for those of you that are saying it, the talking portion of it is being held up by Paul Heyman. If you got any scenario with Paul Heyman in it where Paul Heyman's not holding up the talking end, you're in trouble, and you're stupid, more or less. Lesnar has this sort of UFC style, it's half a taped promo, half a video package, and it's just... He doesn't look comfortable talking. He looks like he's chewing on his words. What he has to say is impactful to a certain degree, and especially when you couple it with a video package, it's even more so. But you can't deny the fact that when he talks, he looks like he's angry that he has to talk. So it's not as good as it should be. Big Show versus Eric Rowan. 20 seconds into the match, weapon of mass destruction, second rope elbow drop by the Big Show, and then he walks away, cause fuck life. Larry Zbyszko, the living legend Larry Zbyszko of WCW and NWA fame, is going into the Hall of Fame, and that is fantastic. Kane is, when we come back from break, Kane is already in the ring, already in the middle of what he's saying, but basically what he's saying is, I'm going to prove how dominant I'm going to be in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. Basically, he's playing a game of one-upsmanship with the Big Show. The Big Show just went in and absolutely steamrolled Eric Rowan, so Kane's going to have his own Battle Royal to preview what's going to happen at the Andre Battle Royal. We got Goldust in the mix there. Goldust is in the Andre Battle Royal. And here's the thing, and this is, like I said about Miz and Mizdow, there are pay-per-views after WrestleMania. If we continue the Gold and Stardust rivalry after WrestleMania. Can you imagine, potentially now, we will have at Extreme Rules, an Extreme Rules match, which it should be, with the winner of the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal versus the Intercontinental Champion. That could potentially happen. Just keep that in mind. But it's an impromptu Battle Royal. There's Kane and a bunch of jobbers, and that's about it. Until Mark Henry invites himself into the mix. Everybody gets kicked out, except for Kane and Henry. They brawl for a little bit. Mark Henry eliminates Kane, and then Curtis Axel thinks he's going to sneak in and eliminate Mark Henry, and he gets owned in no short order. Axelmania is still running wild, and we end the segment. Out comes Heyman, which is just fucking magical, isn't it? Talks about how Lesnar is the most athletic, most authentic, athlete in the WWE or the UFC. Lesnar hates rules. Lesnar is not a pacifist. Lesnar will make war, not love. He'll break the rules, and he'll ruin the show. And you won't have anything to do about it. The WWE won't have anything to do about it. You will be stuck with Brock Lesnar as champion. Not even Roman Reigns can beat The Undertaker. Reality will bitch slap Roman Reigns in the face. You can't beat Brock Lesnar. Your family should have warned you about this. Now, this is fan-fucking-tastic all the way around, because the way they were leading up to this, the way they kept on talking about Brock Lesnar not liking rules, I was thinking for most of Heyman's promo, are they going to make this a no DQ match, which could still be a thing. I would have loved for Roman to just come out and say, oh, Lesnar doesn't like rules? How about we have no rules? But that didn't happen. Roman came out in what was mocked by a lot of people on Twitter, but it's not the greatest thing in the world, I will admit. But he's got the new t-shirt with the Roman Reigns logo, and it just says, I can, I will. Very generic motivational shirt. I mean, if you put it on somebody like Daniel Bryan, it would be the hottest selling thing in the world, but it's on Roman Reigns. We're not allowed to cheer Roman Reigns, so it's a cheesy shirt, right? I like it. I wouldn't necessarily buy it, but I think it's good, especially with his whole thing going into WrestleMania. I hate people telling me I can't, so it's I can, I will. It's a response. It's whatever. It's like the, when they did the mock-up of the Eat, Sleep, Conquer, Repeat shirt, and they made it Eat, Sleep, Conquer the Streak, Eat, Sleep, Conquer John Cena, etc. It's a good little thing. You know, it's like the DX shirt, the Vince McMahon loves cock. Like, it was only appropriate for a short period of time, but it works for that short period of time. Anyways, he comes out and he says, I respect you. I think you're one of the best talkers in the business. You're talking a lot of trash. People think you're talking trash about my family, when really you're just selling me to the crowd. My issue isn't with you. My issue is with your client. And he turns from Paul Heyman to the hard camera, and he says, Lesnar, we finally see eye to eye. I expect a fight. I'm hoping for a war. And I hope to be carried out at the end of the match, but you've mentioned my family. My family is huge. My family is well respected. My lineage is farther than you can remember. I'll have plenty of people to carry me out of WrestleMania, but they'll be carrying me out as WWE champion. I've got a huge chip on my shoulder, and I'm going to beat you at WrestleMania. Short, sweet, to the point. These are the kinds of promos that Roman Reigns should be cutting. It's fine. It's fantastic. It's wonderful. 3-on-3, Barrett, Harper, and Stardust versus Bryan, Ziggler, and Ambrose. And this is where, once again, I take to Twitter, and I have to argue with everybody on Twitter that says, oh my god, it's just another repeat match from SmackDown. Why do they keep repeating matches? But I call bullshit, because these are the people that say SmackDown is irrelevant. These are the people that say they don't watch SmackDown. And if you don't watch SmackDown, if you're not full of shit, which I'm not entirely convinced you aren't, but if you're not completely full of shit and you don't watch SmackDown because SmackDown is so irrelevant, then this is the first time you've seen this match, and it's not a repeat, so fuck off. There's that. Ambrose and Stardust start off trading blows. Ambrose hits him with an elbow. Stardust beats him in the corner. Snap suplex by Ambrose. Stardust and Bryan trade elbows in the middle of the ring. Bryan tries to lock on a really fucked up looking surfboard maneuver, and we get, say it loud, say it proud, we get the Daniel Bryan silly kicks. Oh, yes. Ziggler and Bryan argue in the corner, which is great, because I thought Ziggler was just going to drop him right there, but that didn't happen because it's Daniel Bryan. Bryan knocks Stardust out of the ring. We go to commercial break. We come back. Harper and Ambrose are brawling. Ziggler hits a clothesline, a splash, and a neckbreaker on Stardust. DDT and a near fall by Ziggler. Disaster kick on Ziggler off the apron. Looks really nice. Barrett rams Ziggler into the apron and puts him back in the ring for another near fall. Barrett hits several knees to Ziggler's gut as he's sort of laid out across the turnbuckle like Barrett does. Harper stomps Ziggler a lot. Barrett hits a neckbreaker on Ziggler, gets a near fall. Barrett gets crotched on the corner when he goes to do a top rope something, and Ziggler follows that up by throwing Harper out after his partner. X Factor famouser combo by Ziggler gets a near fall. The match breaks down. Everybody's kind of brawling everywhere. Boot and a sit-down powerbomb by Harper, but Ziggler kicks out. We go to another commercial break. Barrett rides a headlock on Ziggler for a while. DDT by Ziggler. Super Goat comes in and starts, well, goating up. But we don't have to put up with that too long because Ambrose is in. Elbow drop gets a near fall on Barrett. I think I didn't write it down because I'm silly. Ambrose chops the living hell out of Stardust, and it is glorious. Ambrose hits the rebound clothesline on Stardust. Harper hits a big boot to Ambrose in that melee. Ziggler misses Harper. Sorry, my writing is way shit, guys. Ziggler tries for a super kick, misses Harper, hits his partner Daniel Bryan, knocks Daniel Bryan off the apron. Also glorious. Second time, hits the mark on Harper. Barrett hits the Winds of Change on Ziggler out of the ring onto his own partners, which is fucking wonderful. Ambrose counters the Bullhammer into Dirty Deeds, and Ambrose gets the pin. Ambrose, Bryan, and Ziggler get the win. So everybody that everybody likes won this match. So you think people would like this, right? No. We're not supposed to. You're not supposed to like stuff in WWE. It's not the cool thing to do. All 7 men brawl. It's all over the place. It's in the crowd. It's at the ringside. It's in the ring. Alright, sorry, it's not in the ring because Truth and Harper are tugging on the belt outside the ring. The belt gets tossed in the ring. The belt gets tossed very symbolically between Ziggler and Bryan. And for a moment, these two go at it. And I will admit, I will give Bryan his credit here as well as Ziggler. The crowd pop for those two going at it was fucking phenomenal. But all of them go back into the ring once more. Once everybody's in the ring, it's a big finisher fest where Barrett stands tall and finally walks away with his belt. That's a little sub-story that we're maybe seeing some closure on, which is great. He bullhammers R-Truth in the rampway on the way up the ramp to leave. R-Truth is in a suit. I didn't mention this before. R-Truth was on commentary the whole time, which he's been doing the whole match. I think the big giant swerve is going to be that R-Truth's participation in this ladder match is going to be that he's going to be on commentary all night, and then at the end of the match he's just going to sneak up when nobody's looking and get the belt. I really do see that happening just to piss everybody off. And if it does, I'm sorry guys, I'm not going to be mad. You guys will be, once again, it's like the Daniel Bryan 18 seconds thing. It's horrible and I don't agree with it whatsoever, but after it happens, you guys will be my entertainment. Oh ho ho yes. Rollins fights with Triple H and Stephanie in the back, continuing the whole, okay, he has no backup. He really has no backup. He really has no backup. Stephanie says she's created the situation herself. You know, you made your bed, you gotta lie in it, all that kind of thing. The one cool thing, and yes, I know that this is a swerve, and I know what this is leading up to, and it's predictable as the day is long, but you got 5 or 10 seconds or so with Rollins staring down Triple H. And if we ever get that in the future, it will be fucking phenomenal. Wyatt, with his response promo for Undertaker, which I've written down because I'm a masochist. Wyatt is in the back like he typically is. There's all kinds of smoke going around him. There's a different urn. It's not the gold urn that he had last week. It's kind of a gold and crimson urn. I don't know. It's stylized all the way around and all that sort of thing. I don't know exactly what that's supposed to symbolize. I'm not going to lie, but this is a thing. And you know I can't deliver a Wyatt promo like he can, so bear with me. A memory is such a treasure. I remember the first time I saw Abigail sitting in that chair. She was so beautiful, not just in appearance, but in the things she said, the way she spoke. She told me about all the lies this rotten world has told me my whole life. She told me about people like you, Undertaker. Last week you tried to use that memory against me. You tried to use this symbol to burn fear into my heart, and the only thing you succeeded in was turning a chair to dust. And he takes the urn and he pours out the contents of the urn, which is the ashes from the chair from last week, which I thought was a really, really nice touch. There's the big question, Dead Man. Everybody's asking what's left of you. Is it just agony? Last year we saw a broken streak and a broken empty soul, and now you're afraid to show your face because you knew in that moment the eyes of the entire world were opened, and they suddenly felt they suddenly all felt shame and nakedness. It's such a tragedy what happened to you. Your destiny was taken. It's almost brought me to tears. But all this is your fault. Now you're out of time. Your fate is sealed at WrestleMania. WrestleMania will be your requiem, your final resting place, but it will also be my coronation. I'm going to make Abigail oh so proud of me as she watches me destroy the mighty Undertaker and take my place, my rightful place among the gods. The Undertaker is a watcher of light and darkness, but after WrestleMania, nobody is safe. Behold the new face of fear. There is nobody, and I'm including Paul Heyman in this, there is nobody like Bray Wyatt on promos right now. And the way he's carrying this thing with The Undertaker, I know a lot of people are frustrated about not seeing The Undertaker, but this is not the first time they've built a WrestleMania like this. Look at WrestleMania 20, for example. Bray Wyatt is more than holding up his end of the bargain, and it doesn't hurt the show whatsoever. It doesn't hurt the match whatsoever, in my personal opinion. So, I'm sorry, the whole way along, ever since he started doing these promos, I've tried to write them out verbatim as best I can, which is part of why my writing sucks. I know I can't deliver them with the ability of Bray Wyatt, but I feel if nothing else in road signs, this is what bears repeating. This is what bears being said a second time. So to those of you that have sort of bared with me through that whole thing, my very, very poor retelling of these awesome Bray Wyatt promos, thank you for that. And I know that I'm not Bray Wyatt. The main event, as I said, predictable as can be. Orton versus Rollins. Orton comes out, Rollins comes out, and he says, allow me to introduce the whole authority. And the whole authority comes out: Stephanie, Triple H, Big Show, Kane, Mercury, Noble. Am I forgetting anybody? Probably not. Orton doesn't back down one bit. He goes into the ring, he grabs a chair, waits for them all to come down. They surround the ring, lights out, the Crow Cause, Sting's in there with a bat. Sting and Sting and Orton take out the entire authority. I do have to say, I don't care how corny you think it is, but the sight of Orton and Sting side by side, Orton with a chair, Sting with his trademark baseball bat, is special. It's a good thing. Like Sting and Orton versus the world for maybe, 2 minutes that you had to put up with it if you didn't like it. Sting comes with the bat. He takes out the authority. He has a stinger splash on both of J&J security. Calls over the ropes to Triple H, who's not getting anywhere near the ring. Obviously, Scorpion Death Drop on Noble, RKO on Mercury. The rest of the authority bail, and that's how we end the show. Orton, Sting, side by side, calling out for more. You really can't ask for more. You really can't. Again, we're building the Divas match. We're building the U.S. title match, albeit badly tonight. We've built up the ladder match as much as you possibly can for a 7-person, multi-person match. We're building up the world title match as much as we can with Brock Lesnar being a dickhead. We built Undertaker and Wyatt with Wyatt's amazing promo skills. We built up Sting and Triple H because Sting, once again, is fucking with the authority. And by fucking with the authority, by proxy, he is fucking with Triple H. There's not a single match on this. The only thing we really haven't established a lot is the Andre Battle Royal and who's going for the Tag Team Championships. And we haven't addressed the rumors that NXT people might be competing at WrestleMania. But other than that, like, those are going to be thrown on last minute. There's always 1 or 2 matches that are thrown on the go home show, which is fine. Snoop Dogg and some news reporter guy are going to be on Raw next week. But don't even need to worry about that right now. You need to worry about SmackDown in the 6-being interspecies match that I will be doing play-by-play for on Wednesday for your Wednesday night SmackDown review. Anyways, like I said, I thought it was an awesome show. It did everything it needed to do, and I go back to what I said at the beginning of this video. One of the best matches was the Divas match, and I really, I don't want to be corny here, but I really tip my cap to the Bellas and AJ and Paige and what they're doing and how they're building towards WrestleMania. I do genuinely understand why people are frustrated that the Divas title isn't on the line, but again, if you look at the stories of these two teams, it makes more sense as a story, as a match, and thus it doesn't bug me that much. But I get the people that think that the title should be defended. I do get it, and I'm not going to argue with that one bit. It would have been another cool way to go if they had done a Fatal 4-Way, but then you would have had, basically the Bellas have shown that they're a team, and Brie's willing to sacrifice herself so that her sister can be champion. So if it was a Fatal 4-Way, it would be like 2 versus 1 versus 1, which would just be really, really slanted booking and kind of awkward to perform, I'm not going to lie. That's it. We've got, like I say, unlucky 13 more days until WrestleMania. I'm excited. I don't care. I don't care about the negativity. I've gotten to the point where, as I said last week, if I'm on an island, then I'm on an island. It's fine. I'll pour myself some coconut juice. I'll work on my fucking tan because God knows I can't do it up here in Canada. And I'm going to enjoy WrestleMania. If you guys aren't, sorry. That's all I got. Anyways, this is Raw. I'm running out of things to say. This is where I say I've been Spaz, your YWC Reality Check. Subscribe up there. Talk down there. Start a conversation. Keep all these conversations going. Don't be a stranger. I'll talk to each and every last one of you later. But for right now, I'm tagging out. Bye, guys.
You're a freak like